US President Trump has given Nvidia the green light to sell one of its top artificial intelligence chips to China. Nvidia's H200 is just one generation behind its Blackwell chip, considered to be the world's most advanced AI semiconductor. Its standout feature is the massive 141 gigabyte memory capacity. That's nearly double the amount of the H100. It also provides 4.8 terabytes per second of memory bandwidth. That's the maximum rate at which data can be transferred between a processor and memory. Now, all of this allows the H200 to handle huge amounts of data. It's powerful enough to develop self-driving systems and can offer faster and more responsive results for coding assistants like GitHub and Copilot. So what's in it for President Trump? Well, he's agreed to allow the chips to be shipped to approved customers in China and other countries on the condition the United States gets a 25% cut. Well, Rob Kniaz is a founding partner of H-Tree Capital, a London-based tech venture capital firm. Always great to have you on Global Business, Rob. So look, this is a major breakthrough for the company, Nvidia, but also for the relationship between the United States and China, isn't it?
Yeah, I suspect there's some backdoor horse trading, that this is really a way to get off the rare earths discussion. But it looks good on paper, and it looks good to everyone else.
You mentioned rare earths. Does that mean, this shift mean we can expect concessions from China to the US over rare earths?
I would hope to think. I mean, the president has proven himself to be quite transactional, so usually when there's one give, there's another ask on the other side. So given the importance of the rare earths, I would think that's probably the single biggest give that China could give.
Does this, as some analysts have been saying, increase the odds that the world will run on Chinese AI?
I don't know. I think there's two separate questions. I mean, right now, the big Chinese companies, they already have their offshore development centers where they can buy these kind of cards anyway, so they're not being prevented from using AI. I think there's a lot of smaller research-oriented institutions, students that may have access to this now, and perversely, it sort of makes the market more friendly for Nvidia. If they have a global monopoly, that means there's less incentive versus a China that's trying to develop its own competing technology. So it probably sets back some of the domestic market in China that's trying to build competitors to Nvidia, but it gives them more horsepower locally, and it will create more people that will compete globally.
Before I ask you a bit more about that domestic market, the think tank Institute for Progress has said that the US advantage over China diminishes from 10 times to at most 5 times, with Nvidia being able to export these H200 chips. But even if the gap between who leads does shrink, does it matter?
I don't know it matters, because most of these models are winding up in the open source. So whether they come out of China or wherever, they're open sourced. And likewise, I think the fears are a bit overblown right now. If you look at the Chinese developments, they've actually been very strong on how scarcity has benefited them for the well. They've figured out very efficient ways of using technology to get more juice out of that orange, where the American companies are far more profligate. So I think they'll have some interesting breakthroughs. They'll have access to the same technology now, or similar technology, one generation behind. And I think it's still a fair game.
I want to talk to you now about China's domestic plans, because what do you think this all does mean for their quest to develop similar technology at home? Because you and I have talked about more threads and that market debut, which, the share price rose like 500% on day one of trading. To what extent do you think China's moved on?
I think they're obviously going all in on AI the same way, and compared to the West, they have the benefit of being somewhat centrally planned and able to allocate resource to it. So I think they will be a very strong competitor. They may be a bit behind now, but I think they're going to catch up, and they'll be on an even playing field pretty soon. Fortunately, Silicon Valley has its own advancements, but I don't want to underestimate the advances that are going to come out of China with the money that will be thrown at it.
Rob Kniaz, always great talking to you. Thank you very much.